Shabbat Shalom. So grateful that the activation is aligning with Shabbat once again. Super potent energies. We also have the Torah story to help guide us and give another reference point as we move through this message. So you guys, we're at the first quarter activation, which means we're 1 week into this month's cycle. So we're just getting to understand what is going on, what the lesson is, what we're stepping into. So let me know where in the world you're tuning in from. As usual, I'm tuning in from the lovely Sedona, Arizona. These videos happen every week. For those of you who are new, welcome. We hope you come again and again to the activation portal. And for those of you who are returning, thank you. So good to see you guys here. Awesome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Kentucky, Sweden. What's up, y'all? Virginia. Just gonna shuffle you in while you let me know where you're tuning in from. Bend, Oregon. So look at the comments, you guys, as you're seeing everybody commenting where they're tuning in from. Scotland. We are creating a grid of light, so just acknowledge. Illinois. You can send love from your heart or from your inner eye to each of these places that you're seeing pop up. New Hampshire, Australia, Pittsburgh. What's up? What's up, world? And as I'm shuffling, just go ahead and let go of whatever you've been carrying today, whatever you've been carrying all week, all month, all year. Right now, we just need to be as open and empty as possible to receive the message outside of what we think it should be, or outside of attachments, outside of the muddiness of our own egoic thoughts. California, Pennsylvania, beautiful. Phoenix, Arizona. So just go ahead and let it go. Whatever it is, you can pick it back up at the end of the activation if you want to. Maybe you won't want to. Or maybe you'll pick it back up and it'll be transformed. And remember that these cards are just faces representing forces that live within all things. So know that they are nothing outside of you. They're not separate from you. All things are one. And just seeing us all holding hands as though we're floating around this planet in space. Holding hands, joining hands around the earth. Remembering the intention to unite as a collective, to know that this message is not just for us as individuals, but for us as a collective consciousness. Mexico, Netherlands, beautiful. Welcome everybody. Thank you for being here now. And go ahead and connect with the deck. Use your imagination. You can see yourself jumping into the deck, shrinking yourself and jumping in. You can see yourself merging with the deck, or maybe the deck is being magnetized to your heart. Use your imagination. The first principle of Hermetics is the principle of mentality. It's all about the mind. So it's not about the person next to you and their mind. It's about your mind and how you're perceiving this. So have fun with it. I'm going to also take out my Hebrew cards today, as we often do. Brazil, Texas, Boston, what's up, everybody? Thank you, Nancy, for sending this to your favorite groups. Thanks for inspiring us. If anybody wants to share this with their favorite groups, with their family and friends, right now would be a great time to do it, because we can all get in this portal live. And remember that it doesn't matter if they're not here live. If you want to share it after, that's also fine. But how cool would it be to get them in now, right? So go ahead and share it with whoever you think could benefit from this message, or with whomever you think could help activate this portal further. We have Kingman, Arizona. We have Kenya. Beautiful. We have another Bend, Oregon. Maybe y'all should connect. These Hebrew letters are the building blocks of all of reality. They're inside you and me. I'd tell you to connect, but you already are. You're already connected, so you're connected to the tarot, you're connected to the Torah, you're connected to these letters, to these symbols, to all things, because it is, we are all one. Aloha. So beginning with, what is the challenge? How is it just now becoming clear to us? This card will reveal to us the challenge that is just now becoming clear. Aha, this is what this lesson is about this month. Why are we going through this challenge? What's the foundation of it? What is it doing for us? And using the Hebrew alphabet, I'll pull an ally. This one. Okay. So, beginning with the challenge. Again, you guys, this always happens to us because we're so powerful. Check it out. The challenge is a major arcanum card. Right away, we start off with a boom. I actually wore a shirt that had this on it the other day. I was really meditating on this card the last couple of days, so it feels extra resonant. So the 10 of the entire deck, the major arcanum 10, is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's about new beginnings. Yes, new beginnings. Yes. But it's also about directing our fate. Each moment is really a new beginning, which is why this is a card of the deck, because this card is representing a force that is fundamentally operative. Each moment is a new beginning. So that's not the only thing to consider about this card, but also, how are we directing our fate in this moment? And it would be wise for us to look to our most reliable source for guidance in this dimension, nature. To look to the cycles and seasons of the rhythm of nature, knowing we're one with that, and aligning our decisions in thought, in speech, and in action with those cycles and seasons. How does this translate into our experience here and now? How can we pull out some practical advice from this archetype? It's telling us to really consider what we're just beginning, what projects we're beginning, what our intentions are right now, and to ask, how have we been considering the divine timing of these things? Is it the right time to start these projects? Is it the right time to initiate these new intentions? Perhaps it's okay to begin dreaming of it. Perhaps it's okay to begin writing about it, journaling about it, imagining it, but maybe not time to act. Maybe it is. Only you know. You have to tune in to your intuition. But there is always a right time. There is always an optimal time to be able to capitalize on the energies that are already present. So we should be looking to nature to see when is a good time to start this project. Just looking around in general and seeing all things are really nature. All things come from the one. So looking at all things that are seemingly outside of us and asking, how are these things communicating to me? How are they showing me that right now either is or is not the best time to think this thought, say these words, do this thing. So it's about patience, trust, trusting in divine timing, trusting in the divine perfection of all things, as nothing is outside of this divine order. Also, you can see in the four corners are the four creatures representing the four fixed signs of the zodiac. They are the four pillars of the zodiac, holding down the rest of the wheel so it can do its thing. You have Aquarius and Leo. You have Taurus and Scorpio. This is showing the higher aspect of Scorpio, having purified the desires. It's the eagle. And here we have the bull for Taurus. Here we have the man for Aquarius. And here we have the lion for Leo. And they represent four different attributes that one must cultivate on the path of the initiate. So we need intelligence, purification of desires, courage, effort. And if you look at number 21, the card known as the world or the universe, it shows these same characters, but it shows them without wings and without books. Do you notice they've got books? Because they're studying here. They're studying qualities which they've not yet integrated. They're learning. So right now, the challenge is showing us to be patient, to know that it's a process to get to where we want to be, to know that it's not about the destination but the journey, right? I'm sure you've heard this before. It's not about the destination but about the journey. How present we can be right now in paying attention to nature and the signs around us, the cycles, the rhythms, the seasons of what is going on all around us and also inside of us. Just listening, being patient. Then we start to attune ourselves to that rhythm. And from there we can make decisions. From there we can direct our fate. That's how we work from the inside out and not the outside in. When we be patient and listen. And not allow our ego to take the reins to say, I want this, so I'm going to do this. I want to think this, so I'm going to think this. I want to say this, so I'm going to say this. I want to do that, so I'm going to do that. No, not your ego, but what does your highest self want to think, say, and do? What is nature doing? How can we see that what our ego wants is either in alignment or not in alignment with that? So, the ball is in our court. It's up to us what we're going to think, say, and do, and when we're going to think, say, and do it. And we would be wise to align with the rhythm of nature. The sages of ancient days would look to the stars, so reliable. To look to the stars, to look to the planets and their cycles. How can we here on earth, in these bodies, direct our experience based on these unfailing reflections? This is the current challenge. And why are we doing this? Why are we going through this challenge? Why are we going deeper with this initiation of learning how to direct our fate, learning how to navigate new beginnings? Four of Pentacles. So that we can be here now in a way that is good, not just for self, but for the larger self of which we're all a part. Look how he's holding on to these coins. The coins are representing the material reality, but where does that come from? From our thoughts, because our thoughts become things. So this card is all about making sure we're using our material life as a ritual to feed the unseen realms. To remember that it's not really about the physical world, but about what is behind it. And how are we using this physical world to affect that, not the other way around. So we're redirecting our fate. We're taking this opportunity in this new moment, this new day, this new cycle, to get clear on what we're doing here in this dimension. It's like we have a new chance to take the wheel. How are we going to, in the Torah story, Devarim is so aligned with this message, you guys. If you want to hear about it, it's on my wall, it's on my YouTube channel, it's on my Instagram, Rebecca Magic. You can find it everywhere. I do this every week. The Torah story is so perfectly aligned because the Israelites are about to enter the promised land, and Moses stops them and he says, hold on, let's recount every crappy thing you did for the last 40 years, all the complaints, all the negativity. And let's remember that you still came to this point, that you're still blessed, that our Creator still brought you here. But now that we're about to enter the promised land, right, new beginning, how are we going to direct our fate? How are we going to put our best foot forward? And it's saying, well, let's consider why we're even here. What even is this physical reality? What are we doing this for? Where is all this stuff coming from? Because this world is only the world of effects, and the unseen is the world of causes. So it's saying, all right, we're going to, as we step into this new beginning, we're going to make sure that we're doing it right. That we're being very clear with our intentions. We're being very clear with why we're here, what our vision is. So that we can use this material reality as a ritual to feed what is actually important, to nourish what's actually important. So we're learning how to direct our fate for the highest good of the one. So that we can see, look at this card. It's like, so that we can see, instead of this coin, I want you to imagine the earth right there in his arms. The earth in your arms. Because that's what these coins are representing, right? What is the easiest symbol to imagine there for us to all unite in this message? It's the earth, because we all live on this planet. So let's use the earth as the symbol for our shared material reality. So easy, right? And if we consider that, then why are we here on this earth? How are we meant to treat it? Look how he's holding it. How are we meant to protect it? This card comes with the message, are we holding on too tightly, or are we not holding on tightly enough? We're meant to be in this world, but no, we're not of it. Yes. So how can we hold on to this earth? How can we cradle it? How can we not abuse it? How can we not squeeze the life out of it? How can we instead cherish it, honor it, protect it? Know that we're standing upon it, here to protect it, keeping it in our minds, in our hearts. Then we can begin to understand how to really be here in this world. Give our energy to this physical place in a way that's going to be good for all of us as one. It's time to take hold of the wheel. Time to take responsibility, but not just of our own individual lives, but our shared collective life on this planet. How can we cherish, treasure this life together? And the ally is the Nun, the letter Nun. It's the 14th letter of the alphabet. And the Nun, the hieroglyphic symbol that goes with this letter, is a seed. It's a seed for a new beginning. It's the seed that contains everything within it. It's the seed that contains the fruit of the future. What seeds are we going to plant right now? What fruit do we expect to grow? Is it just for you to selfishly consume? Or are you going to see that fruit as something that's going to nourish the world and the collective? It's time to plant a new seed. And as we plant that seed, we're going to remember that in order to direct our fate collectively, we're going to have to water that seed. We're going to have to nurture and nourish that seed with all the right things. If we want to see a world where we're doing this, protecting, honoring, holding on to it in all the right ways. So as we plant the seed, let's take the message from this ally. As we plant the seed, let's really be intentional. And remember that everything we do to the seed is going to reflect how we're either taking the wheel or not, how we're either taking accountability or not. Look, you water the seed, it grows. You don't water it, it won't. Time to take responsibility. And just to connect Torah to tarot and to connect the Hebrew alphabet to the tarot, if you consider that Nun is the 14th letter, what is the 14th card? Arcanum 14 is temperance. And temperance is that aspect of us, that archetype within, that writes the blueprint for the future, that writes out the plan for what is to come next. And this is happening on all levels. This is what happens when we die, right? When we go to this archetype, this grand angel of temperance that writes the script. And there's even a macrocosmic level of that as well happening, where together as one, we have a shared temperance archetype that does this and writes the story for what we're going to all experience as one collective consciousness. But each moment, this angel of temperance is at work writing the next one. That is why it's given a card in the tarot. Because again, it's a fundamentally operative law. It's always happening every moment. So how are we writing the next moment? This is about each moment. It's not just about the short-term future and the long-term future. I'm talking about the short-term future, like right now, like now, the next moment, here, now. So how are we planting the seed for the next moment? You always want to look to the cards before and after the one we're talking about. So if we're talking about Arcanum 14, temperance, we want to talk about 13 also and 15. And 13, what comes before this rewriting the script, is death. So first of all, consider what is dying in you right now. What parts have to fade away so that we can write this new script, create a new beginning, move on to the next lessons because they're never ending. We don't just graduate, but there's another lesson. So how can we let go of one and move to the next? Death is not just letting go, but it's about really integrating, honoring the end. Just as much as we honor the beginning, we have to honor death just as much as we honor birth. So whatever you need to let go of right now in order to step into your next lesson, make sure you're doing it with absolute closure and honoring. Honoring all parts of the cycle you just went through. Don't try to cut corners. That will never work. You cannot cut corners. So before you even think of the new script you're going to write, before you even think of the next stage that you're about to go through, make sure you're complete with the last one. Make sure that you meditate on it, that you reflect on the lessons that you learned, and you give thanks for those lessons in reverence for those lessons. And then we can move on to, okay, I'm here now, fully, wholly present and ready to use all of my energy to rewrite the script and move ahead. Again, this is related to Devarim, the current Torah story for today, for this Shabbos. Because Moses said, hold on, before we enter the promised land, before we take this first step, I'm going to judge you and I'm going to remind you of every single complaint that you had in the last 40 years. And he's not doing it to be a jerk. He's doing it as a loving father would, as a loving parent would, to say, hold on, let's really recount all this stuff and make sure, piece by piece, that we've made our peace with all of it. So that we're not lying to ourselves, so that we're not leaving things buried in our subconscious only to sabotage us when we enter the land. Hell no. We don't have time for that. We've come so far. Your parents all died for this. Your ancestors have been waiting for this moment. We ain't gonna mess that up. We cannot taint this vision. We need to move ahead with absolute clarity, which means we need to be fully, wholly present here now. So do whatever you have to do to make peace with the past, to squeeze out those last lessons that are in there, to really milk it for what it is. And then be honest with yourself. You'll know when you're ready for the next step. Right? Then that brings us to 14, the nun planting a new seed. Temperance, right? The angel of temperance on the tarot card, he's mixing the elixirs, the moon and the sun, the masculine and the feminine, the logic and the intuition. Making the new concoction. We can't be present with this process if we're still connected to whatever it is we've been going through. Then that is going to taint that elixir, that mixture that we're concocting for the next lesson. Those things will be in those waters. Those cords will still be attached to us, and we'll be moving from that place. So we have to do the work first. Okay, so then you do that work. You're here. You're ready to plant the seed and rewrite the script. Good. We write it, and what comes next? 15, the devil, aka the black magician. These are the inevitable mistakes that we're going to make as we move through this process of refining who we are and refining our life experience. So another part of this process that we're in right now of planting the seed as we're about to embark on this new journey is making sure that we're not afraid. It's like, okay, the devil's next. I'm not going to be surprised. Not expecting, hell to uprise. Not being a masochist, not expecting everything to fall apart. That's 16. That's the tower. That comes a little later. But even that, to not be afraid of whatever is to come. Remember the Fool. You cannot access the deeper initiations of any of these cards unless you're looking through the eyes of the Fool. And remember, the Fool card, he's about to jump right off the mountain. He's like, well, the universe doesn't put out the net until I jump anyway. So he's looking ahead. He's not looking off into the distance, though, where the mountains are. He's not going to focus on all the challenges and become paralyzed in fear so that he never even takes the first step. A big part of where we are at the threshold of this new beginning, planting this new seed, is releasing fear and stepping in with love. Again, this is a message from Devarim. We want to step forward with no fear. So we want to have the expectation, not just of the lows that are to come, but of the highs and the lows, and the highs and the lows and the highs and the lows again. It's like this. Life is like this. It's a roller coaster. It's always going to be ups and downs. We have to get to that level. I'm saying we can't just say, oh, I know there's going to be hard times. No, keep going from there. I know there's going to be hard times, and then good times, and then hard times, and then good times again. You see, and then this reflects back to you how foolish it would be to never take the first step only because you're afraid. We have to do what we have to do, period. Nothing else matters from there. And we have to do what we have to do in absolute certainty, because the degree to which we walk with certainty will reflect in our level of success. The more certain we are, the more successful we'll be. And the highest certainty comes from certainty in the divine plan, certainty of our Creator's plan for all of us. So as we plant the seed, make sure we're doing it in a way that we're detached from the fear, detached from the last cycle, from all the old cycles, in a way that we're being so completely present right now with the seed in our hands, first pausing to meditate on what this seed is, which is representing your intention, right? What is your intention right now? What is our shared intention for the world? How are we taking this beautiful moment to pause and say, okay, have I really done the work to release the fear? Am I really stepping forward with confidence? And you might find yourself saying, yeah, I am, I'm confident. But how can I be more confident? How can I be more loving? How can I enhance the experience of what's to come with my intention right here, right now, as I embrace this seed and prepare to plant it? I want to make the most of this experience. I want to make the most of it. So how can I do it? How can you do it? How can we do it? We haven't planted the seed yet. It's in our hands. So let's think, say, and do whatever we must in order to imbue it with the most spirit, love, light, trust, truth, joy, inspiration, prosperity, surthrival. And then we can plant it. hold on to only those thoughts, words, and things that are going to contribute to beautiful fruit for the one. Thank you all so much for coming to the activation portal and doing this work together. And thank you for continuing to receive this message as it comes in clearer and clearer each day, this cycle. As we hold this intention and remain aware of this vision, we can continue to participate consciously with the organic flow of what is inevitably happening. If you want to understand better how to develop bonds with these archetypes, with the wheel, with the Four of Pentacles, with the nun, feel free to reach out, check out my book. This is my passion, it's what I share. In the Royal Path 1, it's all about the major arcanum. At the end of every chapter, I tell you about the Hebrew letter correlation, which opens up a whole new world. Takes you way deeper, the initiation of each of these archetypes. And then the Royal Path 2, of course, is on the minor arcanum, reveals many secrets about elemental manipulation, how modern tarot has strayed from the truth, how to connect to the elements, how to develop bonds with them, how to form an alliance, how to tap into the alliance that is you and all the elements. If you want to know more, it's all there in my books. Feel free to reach out, ask me any questions you might have. I've got 2 private groups on Facebook called The Royal Path and Shabbat Crew. You can find them on my wall. You can find them in the comments here. Thank you, Nancy. And it's really an awesome community, you guys. The community that's grown in each of these groups is incredible, and I love to see the overlapping information, and I love to see the friends being made across the world, the perspectives being shared so that we can take each other deeper. Because I can't see what you see and you can't see what I see. So we have to share what we all see so that we can see the one a little better together. A lot of you have been asking if I do private readings. Of course I do. I do one-on-one readings. Feel free to reach out to schedule with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Shabbat, or maybe depending on where you are in the world, it's already over. So I hope you had a meaningful one. And I'll see you all next week for the full moon activation and also for the next Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Love you guys.